Happy Wednesday, everybody. Today I'm coming to you with a nailed it or failed it challenge, and this is going to be good. This is probably one of my favorite projects. So what I have is a dowel rod, a piece of one of these Dollar Tree signs from another project, a couple of Arizona bottles, a wreath form or a piece of wire hanger or rope or twine. Then I had these PVC fittings in my basement and I just spray painted those black. And you'll need some paint and some shoe polish if that's what you choose to use. So what you're going to start off doing is you're going to make this piece of sign look like wood. Now, if you don't have one of these signs, you can use a piece of cardboard or a piece of foam board, or if you have a piece of wood, that works even better, then it'll be nice and sturdy. So you just start off painting this white, giving it a nice little coat. I kind of dry brushed it on there just because I kind of wanted a little bit of the brown to show, but you can paint it all white and it'll still have the same effect. So for today's challenge, the hosts are Carrie from Mama Dares to DIY, and Keisha from Sweet Urban Rose. And you definitely want to go check out their channels. They are amazing. They have some awesome videos. They're always coming up with some amazing stuff. So you definitely want to go check them out. I will put their channel links in the description box along with the link for the playlist. So you can check them out and see what everybody else came up with. I'm excited to see what everybody comes up with for the challenge. And if you're here from the playlist or from the from other channels, welcome and thank you for watching. I hope that you stick around and you subscribe and like this video. And to all my returning subscribers, thanks for sticking around with my crazy little channel here. And I hope you stick around, like this video, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff, because I really appreciate it and it really helps my channel. So once you paint that white, just let it dry. You can move on to the next step, which is putting a coat of polish or paint on this lighter wood so that it looks darker. Now you can leave it light if you want to, but I just wanted it to match the wood piece, the wood backing. So that's why I put a couple of coats of the shoe polish on there, just to give it that darker wood look to match the board. So once you're done with that, you're going to get your Waverly wax paint, or you're going to get your brown paint, whichever one you have on hand, and you are going to give the board a dry brush. Now, don't do what I did. I spilled half the bottle, it seems like, on my table, which I'm completely used to because I am so clumsy. So I'm just cleaning it up and putting it right back in the bottle. Like I said, I'm used to this. I'm clumsy. I spill things all the time. I drop things all the time. So trust me, if I can pick it up, I will, and I know how. So I'm just going to dry brush the Waverly wax paint on there. And like I said, you can use paint or whatever you have on hand. And if you don't want it to look like wood and you want it to be a color that matches your decor, you can do that too. It's completely up to you. But this was a nailed it or failed it challenge, which leads me to telling you that I need you to go into the comment section and let me know whether you think I nailed this or I failed it. So the challenge was to pick a piece from a store or Etsy or anything that was, more expensive than you were willing to spend and make it over for less. Now, this piece cost me probably less than, I'm going to say $5, because I had most of the pieces here. Some of them were going into the trash. And a lot of the stuff, everything I had on hand, I didn't have to go buy anything except another Arizona bottle because I messed one up when I was trying to cut it. So I had to go get another one because I didn't have any more on hand. But that's all I spent, really, was $1. But if you have to go buy the stuff, then it's probably about $5, if that. So you're going to go ahead and put the Waverly wax paint or paint on there to make it look however you want. Then you're going to take this, look how awesome that bottle is. Now, the only reason that I ever noticed this was because one of my kids took the plastic wrapper off their bottle so that they knew it was theirs. And I saw it and I was like, that looks just like those galvanized buckets. I was like, perfect. So this is a technique I've been using for years on plastic. If you cut a plastic bottle or anything like that and you have those jagged edges, just heat up a pan. Actually have an iron in my craft room. I was just too lazy to go downstairs and get it. So I just went to my stove that has this griddle in the middle. Hey, that rhymed. The griddle in the middle, heated it up, and you just keep moving it on there. Don't make sure it doesn't stick on there because then you'll mess up your pan or whatever. But if you just keep moving it around on there, it will melt it and smooth it out. And then you'll have a nice smooth edge on whatever it is that you're using. And you can use this for, different stuff. So, yeah, so now I have a nice smooth edge. So then I took the parts that I cut out, I spray painted them silver, and then the next thing that I did was I painted in the little slots to match the slots in the piece that I was making. So I started off using paint and it just didn't work that well. It came out really light. So I ended up switching over to some paint pens that I have. You can use a Sharpie. I mean, you can use the paint. It's just not as dark unless, this is cheap paint. So it's not like my chalk paint or anything like that. So if you have good paint, it'll probably work better. This was just like some Dollar Tree or Dollar General paint. So, but you can use a Sharpie or anything else that you have. This paint pen actually worked really well, so that's why I used that. And yeah, so, and if you don't have these Arizona bottles, you can always just use, whatever you have and just paint the slots on there. It doesn't have to be these bottles in particular. I just thought they were perfect when I saw them. So sorry for the noise. My kids are up and moving around. But yeah, so these bottles are perfect for that. But again, you can use whatever you have. And so once you are done putting these slots in there, you're going to do a couple of things. You're going to galvanize these, and you're also going to put some holes in them. But just if you can, you guys, please just in the comments, let me know if I nailed it or I failed it at the end. I think it came out great. I love it. And I love that I didn't have to spend $50 or $60 on it. And, you can, if you even find the metal buckets and you can kind of put the slots on them yourself. I just thought this was awesome that these bottles, came like this. But anyway, so you're going to take your wreath form or metal hanger or wire or jute twine or whatever you're using, and you're going to cut the handles out. And like I said, I had this wreath form left over from another project, so I just took my wire cutters and I just kind of took out all these little extra pieces, and then I just twisted it to make it a little hook. Now it's not perfect. They're not even completely, just because these wreath forms are kind of cheap and I didn't want to break them and I didn't want to keep manipulating them and then end up, with a broken piece. So I just kind of gave it the shape that I wanted, and I was going to twist it again, but the top of it was kind of breaking a little, so I just left it alone. But you just do that with both of them. And if you're using a hanger, you can do the same thing. A hanger will probably be a lot more sturdy than these little wreath forms, but this is what I had on hand, and like I said, I was just trying to go for the least expensive route here, so this is what I had on hand. So then I'm just making sure that it's the right size, and don't do what I did when I was making the holes on here. You'll see in a minute. So anyway, I took my little handy dandy galvanizing palette. I use this all the time. All it is pewter gray, white, silver, and black. And then I do use that rusty color at the end, and I didn't show that part, but I did include that. I did, put that in at the end. Just to give it the rusty color along the edges. I thought I recorded it, but I didn't. So all you have to do is take the rust color and put it around the edges just to give it that rusted look. And so you just go ahead, you galvanize it, and this is what they look like. This is when you don't do as I do as I say. If you have a hole punch would be perfect. I just didn't want to go downstairs. So I was trying to use my hot glue gun. That was not successful. I almost burned my finger trying that. So then I went and I got a knife from the kitchen, which is right next door, and that's how I made my holes. But I would highly recommend a hole punch of some sort to do this. Again, just not the safest thing in the world. So definitely do not do what I did and just use a hole punch. Make your life easier. And these bottles aren't super thick, so a hole punch would work fine. So you're just going to take your hangers, you're going to put them in the holes, and then you're going to, sorry, I'm out of the screen there. I was trying to get a good angle there. You're just going to bend the inside so that there's like a little hook in there, and that's it. You do that to both of the bottles. You make the holes on the sides, bend them in there, and that's it. Then after you get that done, it's time to work on the wood, I guess, hanging part, the wood plaque of it. And that's how it came out. Like I said, they're not perfect, but it works. And you know, there's going to be stuff in there anyway, some flowers, some greenery, so you're not going to see the hanging part anyway. So, you know, it's not a huge deal. So again, don't do what I did. Get yourself a hole puncher or something like that. I have tools. I have soldering tools. I have all kinds of stuff. And sometimes because I'm not in my craft room, I just use what's there because I don't, you know, going up and down the stairs over and over again, I just get tired and frustrated. So I just use whatever I have on hand. So yeah. So I just put the other hanger in there. And then for the wood plaque on the back where you're going to hang them from, I do give a few options. You know, these PVC pieces, I just happen to have them laying around in my basement. They don't even fit into each other. I ended up having to glue them together. So like I said, they were just random pieces that I found in my basement. But you can either go get those fittings from like Home Depot or Menards, or you know, you can use the couple of options that I'm going to show you now. These are just some little hooks that I had. I think they're like curtain hooks, or who knows what kind of hooks they are, but they were perfect for me. You can get S hooks if you don't have those, or you can get a paper clip and use a paper clip and just make like an S hook out of it. And there I had paint all over the hook. And there's, you know, just different options, or you can use the rope and just tie the rope around there. So here are the fittings. Like I said, they don't fit together, so I had to glue them together. And oh my goodness, this was a hot mess. I almost wanted to just go to Home Depot and get the right size, because this was, it just gave me so much trouble. It didn't want to stick on there. I think it's because of the paint. And I knew better, but I did it anyway. So anyway, so I finally got them glued together. If you can't find those, you can, this is just a piece from a mop head. And then these are the suction hooks from Dollar Tree. You know, either one of them would work fine. As far as the suction hook, it's just a hook. You would just sit it on there. If you're going to use the mop head, I found this Game Teaser game, and it fit the stick perfectly. You just glue it on there and use it just like you used like I'm using the fittings. But again, I'm using what I had. Here I am trying to show you that you can use a paper clip to hook them on as well. There's so many options. Like I said, you just kind of have to look at what you have and just try to, you know, see what works. So I ended up, this is when I found out that my dowel rod was just a little bit too long, and the piece broke off, and then I had to put it back on. Oh, it was just such a mess. Yeah, if I would have been thinking, I would have glued the pieces on first and then spray painted them. But oh, look at my beautiful hair. If I'd have been thinking, see, the piece fell off. If I'd have been thinking, I'd have glued them together before I spray painted them, but I didn't. So you live and you learn. You just keep on moving. So it took me a while. I fixed it up, got it put together, and it was fine. I did have to cut the dowel rod just like maybe a half an inch, just because it was sticking off just a little bit too much. So I did end up having to go down and go outside and cut that. And I had to fix all these little pieces again. Oh, it was such a headache. But yeah, like I said, if you're going to do something like this, glue them together first and then spray paint them. I burned my finger. It was just a mess. I didn't show all that because it was just a little bit too much, but yeah. So live and learn from my mistakes. Make sure you paint them after you glue them together. So this is when I discovered it was too long. So I went out, I cut the little piece off, let the other pieces dry. So that gave that stuff time to dry. And yeah, so it came out fine at the end. This is me trying to figure out what the heck I'm gonna do. And so I fixed it up, I cut my dowel rod, and I finally glued them together properly, let them dry the right way. And yeah, so now all I did, I'm just adding some glue on the inside just to kind of give it some extra hold there. And then what I'm going to do, I ran out of glue there. I'm going to glue these two pieces on. So I did sand it a little bit because that Waverly wax paint tends to be a little waxy, obviously, because it's wax. Sometimes the glue, just for me, I don't know about anybody else, but for me, sometimes the glue doesn't stick on there very well. So I just went ahead and sanded it down a little bit so that the glue will adhere, the piece will adhere to it. So yeah, just took some hot glue and I glued it on there and it worked perfect. It's still hanging up on my wall to this day. And I did this video, it's probably been about a month now. I lost the footage on my phone and I ended up somehow, I think I must have backed it up to my Google and I was able to find it. So finally I got it on my phone and I was able to edit it and get it out to you guys, and I was able to do it just in time for this challenge, and I'm kind of happy that it came when it did. So I used some of this Dollar Tree glue all or what a fix all glue and some hot glue, glued it on there, and like I said, it's been holding up rather well. And I did change out the greenery recently, just because my husband was like, oh, why don't we put some flowers in there? So the next thing that you do, and I forgot to mention this at the beginning, is you're going to need something to hang the piece on the wall. Now, you can either use some rope, some twine, anything like that, or I had some leftover picture hangers. Yeah, this is me. I don't know what I was thinking, trying to put something flat on something round. Yeah. Sometimes the brain just stops kind of working after a while, after you've been doing a project for so long. Your brain just you just lose it. You're like, oh yeah, this will work. And yeah, no, it doesn't work. But anyway, so you're going to need something to hang it on the wall. I had some leftover picture hangers. I forgot what those little things are called, but I got them from another picture, and they sell them at the Dollar Tree. And I just took 2 of those, glued them onto the back, and that's all I did. I'm cleaning up the excess glue from around the fixture there. Cleaning it up, trying to make it look all nice. And like I said, I did give this an extra coat of the wax paint just to darken it up because I did not like how light it was. So I did darken it up. And I didn't do that on camera. Sorry about that. But here's where I'm taking the hangers and I'm putting them on the back. And I just hot glued them on there. I didn't do anything, I didn't nail them or anything like that. I just hot glued them on there. And they have stuck. And they've been on there. Like I said, this was about a month ago. So it's been on there just fine. And it's holding up just perfect. Put those on there. And then that's it. This project is done. And please, guys, in the comments below, let me know if you think I nailed it or failed it. Like I said, I think it came out great. I really love it. I've been wanting one of these for a while now. And I was just going to buy the little galvanized buckets and just throw them on a piece. But I said, you know what? I can make this into a DIY. here it goes. So this is what it looks like. And sorry for the crazy angle. I don't know what that was about. But I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you think. Be sure to check out the host channels and check out the playlist. And until then, till my next video, be the reason someone smiles. Bye guys.